Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free if you want to join us here on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, I don't think we've talked about yet the first big day of cannabis legalization in Canada. So that's on the way here tonight, as was predicted. Looks like they're already running out of supply. In fact, they were running out on day number 1.
Unbelievable.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, with you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Chris.
And Darryl.
Of course, you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live. I've got an update, and then, Darryl, you've actually got a related story. It's about homeless people.
Yes.
And the update from me is an old case from, God, I don't know how many years ago it was. It must be like, it feels like 5 years. 2015? No, actually it was before 2015. So anyway, what happened was there was an old guy on Fort Lauderdale Beach, like an old minister. I think he was like 90 years old.
Yeah, 90-something.
Who was giving out food on the beach to homeless people as part of his ministry, as part of his calling, by God to help people in need. And he was arrested for his efforts.
Well, he was giving away food, for gosh sakes.
Luckily, he had the folks with Food Not Bombs behind him on this, and they filed suit. And now it has been working its way through the court system with an update coming this summer. So I've actually been holding on to this one for a little bit here. But I wanted to make sure we got this news out because this was a story we covered way back when this happened. A group, this according to the Sun Sentinel down in Fort Lauderdale, a group whose symbol is a clenched fist holding a carrot, won a legal victory over the city of Fort Lauderdale in August, when a federal appeals court found that its weekly events to feed homeless people are indeed protected under the Constitution. Food Not Bombs, which grew out of an anti-nuclear protest in New England, now has chapters around the United States, which promote the shift of funding away from the military to address hunger, poverty, and other problems. The Fort Lauderdale chapter's weekly feeding events at Stranahan Park generated opposition downtown, where a growing homeless population had led to tensions with business owners and visitors. The city passed a law imposing restrictive regulations on outdoor food distribution operations as part of a suite of ordinances aimed at the homeless, such as limits on panhandling and sleeping on public property. Which, by the way, the panhandling ordinances have already been tossed out on their butts by the ACLU cases that have been, again, successful in court, essentially saying that, hey, look, if it's public property, this is tragedy of the commons, you have to allow people to say things to you that you don't necessarily feel comfortable with.
Right. And I wonder if any of the anti-sleeping ordinances, and I use the air quotes there because some of them are written so poor, a park bench for more than 15 minutes at a time.
Well, sorry for all of you 80-year-olds who are very, very tired as you're walking around.
You want to go feed the ducks at the lake?
Yeah.
You better move from park bench to park bench.
Or else it's a violation.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You want to eat lunch at the park? Better not sit on a lunch or sit on a bench when you do it.
Don't sit on your lunch either. That's also a bad plan. In a ruling that involved Shakespeare, or invoked Shakespeare rather, the Bible, and the history of Thanksgiving, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals found that the sharing of food is a richly expressive activity throughout human history, and that Food Not Bombs' work followed in this tradition, constituting conduct protected under the First Amendment. Quote, the significance of sharing meals with others dates back millennia, stated the appellate court's opinion. The Bible recounts that Jesus shared meals with tax collectors and sinners to demonstrate that they were not outcasts in his eyes. And then they actually
He also told them to go and sin no more.
Right.
He didn't say, hey,
here's some food.
Keep collecting taxes and stealing from people.
They then actually cite a couple of Bible verses. Quote, in 1621, Pilgrims and Native Americans celebrated the harvest by sharing the first Thanksgiving in Plymouth. President Abraham Lincoln established Thanksgiving as a national holiday in 1863, proclaiming it as a day of thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father in recognition of blessings, unquote. The appellate court did not rule, however, on the entire case. They simply found that the trial judge was wrong to dismiss it on the grounds that the First Amendment didn't apply. The appellate court then sent the case back to the trial court again to determine whether the city's ordinances violate the First Amendment. So this isn't uncommon for appeals courts to do. They did this in the Robin Hood case, for instance, here in Keene, where they don't rule on all of the issues in the case. They only rule on errors of law. That's what appeals courts ultimately are supposed to do, and it can lead to some confusion when you don't really understand what the court system is doing here. So now it's sending it back to the same court that ruled against Food Not Bombs. So the original ruling was that the First Amendment didn't apply. Well, now they're saying, oh yes, it does. Rule on this again.
Right.
So I don't know what that's going to result in coming from, if it's the same judge who already ruled against them, is the same judge going to try to come up with some other, cockamamie excuse for ruling against them?
And you mentioned the Robin Hood thing, and in that circumstance, the Superior Court said First Amendment allows them to do what they're doing.
That's right.
The state Supreme Court said, all right, well, look at the case and forget that the whole First Amendment thing exists and just look at it again.
I don't know if that was an exact recount of
That's not
what
the
happened,
exact wording they said, but they said, without regard to the First Amendment, the Superior Court needs to have another look.
Yeah, I think that you mean that they were looking at the issue of, was it tortious interference with their business activities? Because that was the accusation. What was going on, for those that aren't familiar, is here in Keene, New Hampshire, activists, including myself, were sued because we were filling people's parking meters in advance of the parking attendants or parking enforcers reaching those meters, so they could not write tickets, so flummoxing their ability to actually write thousands of tickets over a one-year time frame. And they got real mad about that and claimed that we were tortiously interfering with their business.
The business of fining people.
Right.
I didn't know that was an actual business, but okay.
And
what the heck?
On remand, the court made the right decision again. In our case, the lower court was ruling in favor of the
in that
Hooders.
case, in the Robin Hood case, the court said First Amendment allows them to do the thing.
Right.
And then it was the state Supreme Court that said, yeah, without looking at the First Amendment, take another look at this. And then the Superior Court took another look at it and said, yeah, they still have the right to do this. Yeah. And then it went back to the Supreme Court again.
And the Supreme Court
Court said, yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Kristen Anderson, Director of Litigation for the Southern Legal Council and lead attorney for Food Not Bombs in Fort Lauderdale, said in a news release the case addressed the national trend toward the criminalization of homelessness through such measures as local bans on the distribution of free food. Quote, the court's opinion recognized sharing food with another human being is one of the oldest forms of human expression. We think this decision strengthens our message to cities across the country. They need to invest in constructive solutions to homelessness instead of wasting government resources on punishing people who seek to offer aid. Unquote. Nathan Pym, member of Fort Lauderdale's Food Not Bombs and one of the named plaintiffs in the lawsuit, said, We look forward to continuing our community organizing in Fort Lauderdale. We hope we're one step closer to something we fought over for many years, simply being able to help people without being threatened with arrest by people who should be working with us. According to, the Fort Lauderdale interim city attorney, he declined to comment. And further, the report says that although the city suspended enforcement of that law in 2015, Food Not Bombs filed suit to overturn it. The group lost in federal district court when a judge at that time ruled that distributing food was not constitutionally protected expressive conduct, but the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals said the group's distribution events were, quote, peaceful political direct action and therefore enjoyed First Amendment protection. The group, quote, does not serve food as a charity, but rather to communicate its message that society can end hunger and poverty if we redirect our collective resources from the military and war, and that food is a human right, not a privilege, which society has a responsibility to provide for all. Now, I don't necessarily agree that food is a right, but let's look into that.
No one has a moral right to prevent you from eating food that you have justly acquired.
Right. Let's talk about the right of food here in moments, let's continue.
He was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours, ld2coin.io. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can bring up whatever you want here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about homeless and homeless people and feeding them. Apparently, it is now, according to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, it's a legal thing to do. After years of Food Not Bombs activists being targeted and arrested, threatened, and violence used against them by police departments in Florida, not just Fort Lauderdale, but also Orlando. These are some of the stories we've reported on over the years. I suspect it happens in other states as well. It's just we happen to see the ones that were happening in Florida.
I just have to think, what kind of a world are we living in when courts have to answer questions like, is it okay to give another human being food?
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
It is, and that's the disturbing part of this story, that somebody feels so strongly that they should be able to affect the gift of from one person to another. And
well, you could have smallpox in that turkey sandwich.
Yeah. That's a good point, Darryl. Or E. coli or anything else, and you don't have the prerequisite licenses to distribute food. These are the excuses that are often used.
Because that's how you eradicate E. coli. You get a license.
Right, and
exactly.
And distribution, we know, at least from court cases in New Hampshire, distribution, at least in certain circumstances, can be as simple as handing something from one person to another.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a mother feeding her child, she is distributing food.
Does she have a
without
license
a permit
Yeah,
or a
she's gonna
license?
need a food service establishment license, I think.
I'm waiting for breastfeeding to require a license.
Don't give them any ideas.
God, right?
All right. We'll talk a little bit more about this issue, but I want to make sure you know about the Texas Bitcoin Conference. It starts in about a week. It's October 27th through the 28th, so coming up fast in Austin, Texas. It will be the 4th Texas Bitcoin Conference and the 4th one from which Free Talk Live will be broadcasting. So we're going to be there, and we'll try to bring you a taste of what it's like to be there, but you really ought to be there to enjoy some of the best networking opportunities, panels, and keynotes from industry leaders in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, including folks like Paul Pue, who's a longtime guest from those events. He's the guy who's in charge of the Edge wallet. Bruce Fenton will be there. Lynn Ulbricht, the mother of Ross Ulbricht, who's currently in prison for 2 life sentences plus 40 years for the dastardly crime of running a website called the Silk Road. We'll give you more information, of course, while we're there, but go get your tickets right now and see the full schedule, which is now up on the site at TexasBitcoinConference.com. Tickets are still available at TexasBitcoinConference.com. The ruling here from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, I think, deserves a little bit of further discussion. Let me just recap this. This is from their ruling. They claim, or they ruled that the group's food distribution events, this is Food Not Bombs, was, quote, peaceful political direct action and therefore enjoyed First Amendment protection. I agree with that. Definitely true. They are doing something that I consider to be charitable. And it says here, though, that the group, quote, does not serve food as a charity, but rather to communicate its message. And then I'll get to the message here in a moment. But what does it matter?
Right.
Whether it's to communicate a message or to do it as a charity.
Right.
I mean, most charities have a mission, right? Their mission is to help people who, in this case, are hungry, down on their luck, give them a little something, a little sustenance. Does it matter whether that's a message that's overtly communicated or subtly communicated? I don't really see.
The idea of charity goes back to the earliest days of man. I mean, someone is hungry, someone gave them food.
Right.
Or someone didn't. You know what I mean? But the choice was always there. It's always an option. You can choose to help people. And the last thing we need are laws that stand in the way of that.
Exactly.
Insane.
Now, what they claim the message is here is not one that I necessarily entirely agree with. It says that society can end hunger and poverty if we redirect our collective resources from the military and war. I got no problem with that. Please, take away resources from the military and warmongering. I totally understand that. But I don't think that government, of course, is the best way to distribute money. Like, I think that people should be able to just have their money that they earn, and then they can decide for themselves which organizations they want to donate.
Government has proven it is the least. If there were a contest, it is the least good at giving distributing income, and it continues to fail every day.
And
now, I wonder if the Food Not Bombs is in any way connected with the War Resisters League, or how much overlap there is.
I don't know. I don't know the history. The only history I know here is what they said in this article is that they came out of a nuclear movement in New England, or an anti-nuclear movement. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were, because that goes back to the 70s, if I recall correctly, that anti-nuclear movement. Remember, there were protests out. I think it was on the seacoast at a nuclear facility. There were like sit-ins.
Wouldn't surprise me if it goes all the way back to World War II, right after the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
I'm sure there's a way to research what the history of Food Not Bombs is, but let me finish here with their alleged mission. And this, again, is being spoken by the court. This is an excerpt from the court. That it says here, let's see, that food is a human right, not a privilege, which society has a responsibility to provide for all. Now, you touched on this as we were going out to break, Darryl, that you have a right as a human being to do with your property what you want. And your food is something that that you've justly acquired.
Right. So
you should be able to distribute
a lot of libertarians and conservatives say that I got a right to my guns.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody construes that to mean that some government agency somewhere must provide everyone with a gun.
Correct.
But when somebody else says, I have a right to fill in the blank, it is then implied that someone else must provide that thing.
Right. And there's a big difference. And to me, this is a discussion of natural rights. The natural right of property ownership. I mean, that is something. If Darryl has food, he has a natural right. He doesn't have a natural right to take it from somebody else, but he also has a natural right to give it away. These aren't things that government created, the ability for Darryl to give away food.
Right.
These are things that are inherent to the human condition.
Should he choose to give away his food, he has a right to do so in whichever way he decides is appropriate, whether that to be give it away or sell it to some people who he doesn't think are too poor to afford it or whatever. In fact, there's even I remember there was a story years ago about a Panera bread where they did a pay what you can afford method.
Yeah, I think they have a handful of those across the country.
There are a couple experimental stores. I don't know how many they've opened since we shared that story, and it was really an interesting experiment. And can this work? Can you actually have a store, a commercial store, a for-profit enterprise work where people just go in and pay whatever it is they want to pay? Where somebody who's got a little bit more money, they feel like they can share that money, they can pay double what they would normally pay and sort of pay it forward, basically, for a customer that doesn't have a whole lot.
Headline from Fast Company from earlier this year: why Panera's experiment with pay what you want dining failed.
Ooh, all right, let's get into it.
Apparently, it lasted for about 8 years, which is longer than a lot of failed restaurants.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm interested in hearing more about that. And we can talk a little bit more about rights and your right to do what you want with your property, but that you don't have a right to force others to do what you want them to do with their property. And that's where this whole obligation or responsibility to provide, it's where I kind of have a quibble to make here in moments. 855-450 free is our number. You can join us. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
If you're looking for work, you know what I mean by elevator speech. It's the short version, saying just enough to make the listener want to listen more. Even if you're not a job seeker, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. So to cut through the clutter, choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Instead of saying, due to the fact that, say, because. And avoid mispronunciations. Say jewelry, not jewelry, which could offend. Undoubtedly, you don't want to say undoubtedly. And whatever you do, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
I don't care what they wrote down on pieces of paper. The fact is, this government exists through consent. It exists through mass consent because people believe in it. It's a cult. People believe in the idea that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as they have a good reason for it. They believe that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as a majority of people walking into some booth check a box somewhere.
People spend more time thinking about the government and pledging allegiance to the flag than they do. Many people spend more time pledging allegiance to the flag than they do praying to their God. Their religion is this government.
It's actually, if you believe in like the Christian religion and all that, putting other gods above your God is usually a pretty bad thing.
Yeah, to me, the Pledge of Allegiance is simply a prayer to the God of the government.
It's essentially religious indoctrination for the state.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up what you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about feeding the homeless. And 11th Circuit Court of Appeals saying, yeah, actually, you do have a right to do that. These governments like Fort Lauderdale in Florida that have passed laws prohibiting the distribution of food in public places without whatever permits and nonsense, they're unconstitutional.
Right.
Basically. Now, they did remand it back. They did remand the case back to a lower court to decide further on this. So it's an initial positive ruling, but it's not a done deal at this point. It's still working its way through the court system. But this led to greater discussion about the idea of rights, which I think is an important one to have, and we can continue that coming up here in moments. I also want to make sure you know about the giveaway that's going on, a big giveaway. Of essentially $350 worth of LD20 tokens. Now, what is an LD20 token? Well, it's the new limited edition Liberty Dollar 2, and they're calling it the Zero because it's like the first thing that comes out before the actual eventual not so limited edition Liberty Dollar 2 comes out. So this is like the pre-sale, essentially. And they got 10,000 of these things they've been selling off over the last few months. They've got less than 4,000 of them to go. You can, of course, get yours at ld2coin.io. And you can also enter our contest that we're doing to give away 10 of these tokens that are backed by an ounce of silver. So cryptocurrency normally doesn't have anything backing it. This one does. It's a gorgeous 0.999 fine silver round backing each LD20 token, just like the original Liberty Dollar was famous for. Here's how you enter. Send an email to contest@freetalklive.com. You can put LD2 in the subject line and include a number between 1 and 1,000. So again, email contest@freetalklive.com. Subject line LD2 and a number between 1 and 1,000. The winner will be chosen on November 5th. In the event of a tie, the prize will be split. So it's whoever picks the number that's closest to the number that has been randomly chosen. Liberty Dollar 2 will help you, if you're the winner, set up a wallet to receive your prize. Find out more at ld2coin.io. As we continue here, we were talking about rights and food not bombs. Darryl, you did a little bit of research. Turns out it goes back to the 1970s, or it was 1980 actually, when they, or maybe it was you, Chris.
Yeah, when they did their first protests at the Seabrook nuclear power plant here in New Hampshire. Yep.
Right. I was searching the history of the anti-nuclear movement.
Okay.
And that dates back to the 50s among scientists, or the 40s among scientists.
I'm going to say
some discussion among quote-unquote the public in the 50s, and then the first actual protest in the 60s.
I'm saying the anti-nuclear movement dates back to 1945 amongst the Japanese.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And
I'm not against nuclear
I would
power.
say there was probably an anti-nuclear movement before that as well.
Yeah, during the first tests, people were horrified. And I talked to my father, who was alive at this point, and when Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened, I mean, they were horrified at the power. That was the common on both sides of the war, that people were like, what have we unleashed? And this was a common thing among scientists too. The idea that this kind of power, and I think a lot of people realized that it couldn't be contained just to the U.S. This was going to change the world forever, and it certainly has.
I'm not against nuclear power, but I am against nuclear bombs.
Yeah,
I think that if we had true free market in power, then you'd find safer, smaller, less radioactive nuclear facilities, and then you do today, which is very heavily restricted, and they can't build new ones, and the old ones can't be retrofitted, and it's just there's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a mess out there.
And
of regulations.
There's so many restrictions on research and things like that. There have been people that have been playing around with ideas for cold fusion and salt reactors and all sorts of technologies that could really help. And
then there's the thorium reactors, which are much safer, from what I understand.
It's just all sorts of things.
And I think thorium has much shorter half-life.
I don't recall. I know we've talked about the differences between uranium and thorium, and it's like a night and day difference between safety. So anyway, back to Food Not Bombs and this court case, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals saying, yeah, it is First Amendment protected action to distribute food. They say here that Food Not Bombs believes that food is a human right, not a privilege. Well, now the problem with a statement like that is that it sounds nice on its face. Like, oh, well, I mean, who could disagree with the right to eat? But the problem with that type of right is it forces itself upon other people, meaning that if you have a right to food, then that means that you have a right to somebody going out and picking it off the vine and putting it in a store or giving it to you or whatever.
It all depends on whether you mean positive right or negative right.
Right, which is
that's
a confusing
one of the problems with the English language that I was trying to point out, to where the right to bear arms is not construed by anyone as the government must give you firearms.
Right. Or that you have a right to go in and just take a firearm from a gun store or something because you have a right to it, right? If you have a right to something, that doesn't necessarily follow that means you have to pay to exercise that right. Like if I have a right to free speech on public property, I don't have to pay anybody to speak. So when people ask for a permit to engage in their so-called free speech, well, they don't have a right anymore. They've converted that right into a privilege.
Right.
So we get into kind of a real sticky situation here where people have the intention of doing good and helping others, and they believe that food is a right, but ultimately it's not. I mean, if a bunch of people eat all of the food on the vines or whatever, then the food ain't just going to pop right back out to, provide itself. Somebody's got to plant it. Somebody's got to go and till the land. Somebody's got to go and pick the watermelons or whatever it is that, food that we're talking about here. There's a lot of work that goes into getting food packaged and shipped and sent to your plate. Now, if you have property rights. And if you want to plant food on that property and then do all the work that it takes to make it, to your table, you have the right to do that. You have the right to give away that food in whatever way you feel like. You have a right to sell that food. Because if it was a right to food, then there would be no charging for it, right? Like then it would just be free for everybody. And of course, what happens when there's no price on things? It goes very fast. It disappears because there's no disincentive to take as much as you possibly can. So there's a reason why food has prices on it, because people put work into getting it to your table, and they deserve some form of reward. I mean, it's nice when people thank you for cooking for them, but eventually you got to do something, with the money. You got to have some money in life. We have this medium of exchange for a reason, because people are exchanging energy ultimately at a fundamental level. The energy put into making the food and putting it somewhere. Well, the money that you give to somebody who's provided you food is your it's It's a representation of the energy that you've put into making that money, and it allows those people to exchange when they otherwise wouldn't easily be able to, with like a barter system or something like that.
Well, and that's where this is, I would say, more of this goes back to communism. This goes back to socialism and Marx.
Which you probably will find some of those people in Food Not Bombs, is my bet.
I have no doubt. And a lot of their website, just in a brief read, certainly has some socialistic aspects to it. Yeah. But the idea promoted by Marx was that if anything is a need, it is basically then a right. So if I have to have water then to survive, then I have a right to water, which means somebody has to provide water for me. If I need food to survive, someone must provide me with food, shelter, clothing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's sort of the idea behind socialism, is that if we need these things, if we cannot survive without them, then someone has to provide them. And they like to look to government or some centralized organization
How'd that
to
work
provide
out in the
those.
Soviet Union?
How to work out in China, how to work out in Yugoslavia, how's it working out in Venezuela?
Bread lines is how it worked out. Unending lines in Venezuela that you never end. Even you just keep waiting in lines to get the most basic of foodstuffs. That's happening right now.
And what happens? What actually solves this problem? Is
the market.
It is the market. It is the trade, voluntary trade between individuals, that allows us to feed more people than we ever could have before
at the lowest cost. Right. Like if it weren't for the government's inflating money supply, then a loaf of bread might cost less now than it did 30 years ago.
It sure should.
There's more coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
The 7th annual Fall Flooring Yard Sale's going on now with incredible deals at Lumber Liquidators. We've got hundreds of floors on sale, up to 50% off, in stock and ready to go. Save big on waterproof floors, all on sale from just 39 cents. Get wood look laminate flooring, all on sale up to 40% off. Pre-finished hardwood and bamboo starting at 99 cents, plus special financing. Stop by your local Lumber Liquidators store or visit lumberliquidators.com today.
The Epson EcoTank printer, available at your local Staples, comes with up to 2 years of ink right in the box. That's up to 2 years worth of reports and proposals. Up to 2 years of not running out of ink when you need to print 5 copies of a report for a meeting starting now. And during Staples printing event, save $100 on the Epson EcoTank 4750. Plus, trade in your old printer and get another $50 off. Up to 2 years worth of ink and no hassle printing. Now at Staples. Offer ends 10/2018.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We also have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms that are open and available to you. You'll sound almost like you're sitting in the studio here if you're on those rooms, so jump into them on our Discord server, which is a free chat system. You can go to discord.lrn.fm. Of course, there's also chat rooms that you can do text chatting with other Free Talk Live listeners. They're currently arguing about climate change in our chat room, so sometimes they talk about the things we talk about on the air, sometimes not. But it's there for you 24/7, and you can, again, use it to call into the show when we're live. And we are live 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time, so feel free to join us. With you in the studio, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Your property and your family are precious, so you can protect them with the Blink home security system. We got Blink operating here at the LRN studios. We got it over at Mark's house. Blink motion activated HD cameras are wireless, which means you set up fast with these things. You unbox the cameras, put the batteries in. They last up to 2 years. And then you put the cameras up wherever you want in your house and set it all up on your Wi-Fi enabled device. It is super easy to do. And there's no contracts and no subscriptions. Plus, Blink works with Alexa because Blink is an Amazon company. They will send you a clip of whatever goes on in front of your cameras as they're operating during the time frames you specify. You can get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys. Plus, save an extra 15% by using this URL to place your order. It's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Once again, blinkprotect.com/FTL. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. We've been talking about rights, the fundamental rights. Is there a right to food? That's what the people at Food Not Bombs say. And again, I support what Food Not Bombs does as far as their activism is concerned.
Right.
Going out into public places and feeding people. That's great. That's literally putting your money, or in this case, your food, where your mouths are, and, and helping feed people. That's great. But to suggest that food's a right, things get a little sticky with that statement, and we'll continue here in a moment. We've got David on the line in Detroit, listening via satellite. David, are you tuned in on our free-to-air satellite over North America?
Yeah, the Galaxy 19 or whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
That is correct. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, so I am curious. I'm a long-time listener, but, free-to-air satellite isn't very common in North America.
No, it's not.
And a lot of the feeds happen to be, Arabic and Middle Eastern programming.
Correct.
So I'm just really curious, as, the feeds aren't cheap to obtain. I'm just curious, why you guys do that. I mean, it's awesome that you do it. You're getting the message, but it's not very commonly used in North America. It's used a lot in Middle East and Africa and Europe, but not here. I'm just curious. Question.
Correct. So, free-to-air satellite, for listeners that aren't familiar, is a system that allows satellite broadcasts to be received by the viewer or the listener for free, meaning that right now when you're listening, David, you're not paying any company per month a fee. Correct. To receive that audio programming from us. It really isn't that expensive in the scheme of things to be up there. I'm prohibited by my agreement with the satellite company to tell you exactly how much it is, but it's pretty affordable. I'm gonna tell you that we do it to both sub-Saharan Africa. There's an African satellite there, SES-5, and then also to North and Central America on Galaxy 19, the total bill per month is under $1,000.
Really?
For 2 continents, basically. So I mean, that's not too shabby. If you try to buy time on like a radio station, you're going to be paying probably $1,000 an hour or something like that.
Guaranteed.
In a lot of, or more in some radio markets. So you're right. It's not entirely popular in the U.S., but it's not unused. I mean, there are hundreds of channels up there. RT is up there. Al Jazeera used to be, but they're not there anymore. Press TV. So there's a number of sort of noteworthy international television channels.
And there are a lot of people, even though it is, as you mentioned, a lot of international channels, a lot of Arabic stations, there are people that, they're not from the U.S., if you will, that the only way they can get some of the content that they want is through free to air.
Correct. It's their link home.
And when they're
basically
scrolling through channels, wait, what is this?
There's LRN.FM, exactly.
Yeah, and the barrier to entry is really low to receive these. And I don't want to say that it's really low for someone in sub-Saharan Africa. It may be months of wages.
It is.
But I mean, I've looked into this stuff before, but a receiver's like really
$100.
Yeah, $100, and you can use almost like any dish.
You can use a $100 dish or $70 dish. They're not very expensive. So basically, you're set up and running for $200 to $250.
Yeah.
It's really no big deal to get into it, and also it also works as a distribution method for our radio stations that take our show that aren't licensed radio stations. So if we have a pirate radio station out there that wants to air the content from Free Talk Live or LRN.FM, they can just set up a satellite dish and receiver, and they don't have to have an internet connection live at their radio station. So it's used for that as well, and it helps facilitate that. So to me, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth doing, and we've been doing it since, I think, about 2010, so almost most of a decade.
So I got a question. Who regulates it?
The FCC does technically have some satellite regulations.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like if it covers North America and South America, does the FCC just claim we're in charge of all this, or is it?
Well, the FCC
based on who
regulates the teleports. So there's the the place where there's like a big, essentially a company that takes our show and our feed, and then they mix it together into what they call a MUX, which is a series of channels that's all broadcast to the satellite, and then the satellite rebroadcasts it down across continents. So since that's a transmission facility located in Pennsylvania, it comes under FCC license in that case. But that doesn't mean we're prohibited.
That doesn't mean the content is FCC regulated.
There are some things that I think that aren't allowed, but it's not the same as like broadcast radio.
Yeah.
Basically. Anyway, David, does that answer your question for you?
Yeah, and I mean,
what got you into it? I mean, so since you're an unusual person, since you have a free-to-air satellite, what was it that attracted you to it?
So I do live in an area where there's a pretty significant and an almost majority Middle Eastern population. It's about to be one of the only Muslim majority cities outside of the Middle East. Dearborn, Michigan. So. It's a pretty common thing. If you drive down, some of the streets there, you'll see these big, they're bigger than like subscription satellite dishes. It's at least a 30-inch dish.
Yep.
And, equipment, like you said, it's not expensive. I think my whole setup, I got a used dish for free, but, I'm in under $80. I think the receiver was like $80 from China.
Right.
So I was just curious because, LRN or Liberty Radio Network, I kind of recognized that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are up there. I just thought that was awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I feel the same way.
So,
in fact, I'll tell you another aspect of this that I thought was cool. Years ago, I learned that some countries ban satellite dishes.
Yeah.
So Cuba, for instance. But not just Cuba. There's also some Middle Eastern countries that also ban them. And so I thought, I like subversive things. And I love the idea that we're up on a delivery system, satellite, that basically can't be jammed by any meaningful system. That the only way they have to effectively stop people is to target people's dishes and take them out. If you search Google for satellite dish destruction or bans or whatever, you'll find some horrifying pictures of just I don't know, thousands, hundreds of satellite dishes that have been confiscated by authoritarian governments and are being crushed by bulldozers and things like that. I mean, so there really are people who are going to prison in countries for smuggling in satellite dishes. I remember one story. That's
crazy.
Yeah, I remember one story, I think it might have been Cuba, where they smuggled them in as though they were like wave boards or boogie boards or something like that. They'd painted them to be all like bright and colored, and there was years ago I read a story about Cuba where the way they set it up is one dish will be set up on like in a sort of obscured location where it can point at the satellite, but it can't easily be seen from like the ground.
Right.
And then they'll feed from that dish to multiple surrounding houses. So one dish will feed multiple families in an area because they don't want to have more than one dish up because it increases the likelihood that they're going to get caught.
Right.
It's just a fascinating stuff. And so I thought, if we can be up on this satellite, the most popular one, Galaxy 19's where it's at, because there's a bunch of satellites up there, but only some of them are sort of the free-to-air satellites. There's a bunch of them that deliver encrypted or scrambled channels on other satellites. I thought, if we can be there with pro-liberty, pro-freedom programming and, even quicker, perhaps undermine the legitimacy of these authoritarian states. Like that's worth $500 a month.
Right.
That's to me at least. Hey, David, thanks for calling tonight.
Matt.
Glad you found us up there, and I appreciate hearing from you. If you want to learn more about our satellite feed, you can go to sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm. There's some specific equipment recommendations and details about where to find us up in the sky for free. It's Free Talk Live. 855 450 free like freedom.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 44055. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 44055. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 44055.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 19th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zen is trading at $13, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,487. Antiwar.com reports while the Trump administration has long maintained that sanctions against North Korea don't impact humanitarian aid, in practice, the administration has banned all American aid groups from the country, shutting down aid efforts. This comes as the administration looks to increase sanctions against North Korea and to make sure that growing diplomatic progress between them and the rest of the world does not end up easing their isolation. That means cutting humanitarian projects. The State Department said there are a range of factors behind the decision to ban all of these aid groups, groups from North Korea and that officially they're being handled on a case-by-case basis. All U.S. groups involved in such projects, however, are getting the same answer, rejecting their travel. Aid groups also reported confusion at the Treasury Department about the regulation and licensing of NGOs that had worked with North Korea's government, including on aid projects. Cutting through the red tape is all but impossible at this point. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports animal rights activists covered in bloody body paint demonstrated topless Thursday in New York City to protest outfitter Canada Goose over the treatment of coyotes and geese. The protesters, supporters of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, set off red smoke bombs and unfurled a large banner with what they said is a more accurate version of the Canada Goose logo. The demonstrators rallied outside Canada Goose's flagship Manhattan location. PETA has posted videos online showing the abuse of geese, which are starved and left in cages for hours before they are slaughtered. These geese are taken from James Valley Colony Farms in Canada to a slaughterhouse at Schlitz Food in South Dakota. Goose down is used as a filling for their jackets. PETA stated on the website, once they have been unloaded for slaughter, these geese watch, terrified as other frightened birds were again grabbed by the neck, stunned, shackled upside down by their legs, and killed right in front of them. The group also accuses Canada Goose of trapping coyotes and using their fur to trim coats. PETA Executive Vice President Tracy Ryman said PETA is calling on shoppers to refuse to give a dime to this cruel company until it stops selling items for which sensitive animals are tormented and killed. PETA's campaign against Canada Goose also includes large banners near a store in Chicago that read, "I'm a living being, not a jacket filling," and "Boycott Canada Goose." PETA Clothing Campaigns Manager Christina Sewell said, "This is our big campaign for the fall and winter, so this is where all our firepower is going right now." Banners will soon be on display at several other Canada Goose locations. Canada Goose officials say their treatment of animals is ethical and humane. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports President Donald Trump's administration on Thursday for a second time asked the U.S. Supreme Court to put the brakes on a lawsuit filed by young activists who have accused the U.S. government of ignoring the perils of climate change. In the lawsuit, 21 activists between the ages of 11 and 22 said federal officials violated their rights to due process under the U.S. Constitution by failing to adequately address carbon pollution such as emissions from burning of fossil fuels. The lawsuit was filed in 2015 against former President Barack Obama and government agencies in a federal court in Eugene, Oregon. Both the Obama and Trump administrations have failed in an effort to have the lawsuit thrown out. On July 30th, the Supreme Court rejected an earlier application by the Trump administration, saying it was premature. Eugene, Oregon-based federal judge Ann Aiken on Monday issued another ruling allowing the case to move forward to trial on October 29th if either the High Court or the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals do not intervene. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The Princeton Medical Institute has found that the most common deathbed regret, more than losing contact with family or spending too much time at the office, is never having sprayed a fire extinguisher all over the place.
Similar themes emerged in our interviews with dying patients. Some wished that they'd taken more risks. Others wished that they'd lived a life truer to their dreams. But almost every single person surveyed, regardless of their age or circumstance, said that their most significant regret was never having grabbed a fire extinguisher off a wall and blasted it around a room until it ran out of foam.
I've lived a good life. I was a nurse for 32 years. I have 3 beautiful children, but I've never smashed my elbow into a glass case, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and gone whoosh over everything.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you're invited here if you want to join us on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
855-450-3733. First hour, we talked about the update on the Food Not Bombs case out of Florida. Federal court deciding that, yeah, it actually is your First Amendment protected conduct, and they've remanded to a lower court to make another decision in that particular case. So it's not quite done yet, but led to a larger discussion about rights in general.
Right, and trying to pull up a update, I found nothing.
Well, yeah, it's pretty fresh out of this.
It was almost 2 months ago.
It's the court system. It's probably going to take 6 more months before you hear anything out of the lower court.
Well, I figured there would at least be something saying, hearing date has been scheduled.
You would
usually don't get those reports in the news media. It probably has been scheduled, but you likely would have to call the courts and find out directly on that one. So you had a related story, though, Darryl, also about homeless people. So what's the news there?
You had also mentioned the Panera
Thanks for reminding me.
Pay-as-you-can dining.
Which we talked about a few years back or several years ago on Free Talk Live as sort of this experimental thing that at the time was being heralded as a success, and it seemed to be working where whatever you can afford basically was the model, and people would come in, and some people would pay more than what the suggested price might be. I don't remember if they had suggested prices on the menu or if it was just like, here's your food, and then what do you want to pay for it?
I think I remember Pete and Jason Talley going to one of these when they were in Marv on Motorhome Diaries.
Okay.
And it was, here's the suggested total.
Okay. Right, and then you pay what you want.
And then if you wind up giving more, plus they had a little, not the tip jar, but here's the little jar for like the food bank or whatever. So they've got that jar in addition to if you, let's say your total is $8.14 and you hand over a 10 and you say keep the change.
Yep.
And then you could put more money in the little cup.
Right.
So Fast Company, again, has the story. They say in 2010, Panera's nonprofit arm launched
it was nonprofit. I said it was for-profit, but sorry.
Well, Panera is a for-profit company.
Right, but they have a subsidiary.
Has a nonprofit that they operate. They opened a cafe in St. Louis that looked exactly like the company's other restaurants. But the customers could pay what they wanted for the items on the menu or not pay at all. Ron Shake, I think is how you would pronounce this last name, Panera's founder and CEO at the time, had volunteered at food banks and wanted to offer a better experience for people who were struggling to eat. The new nonprofit restaurant called Panera Cares was designed to sustain itself by nudging middle-class consumers to pay a little extra for the meals. He said,
which generally, if you go to Panera, you can probably afford to do because it's not cheap food.
The CEO said in a TEDx talk later that year, again back in 2010, in many ways, this whole experiment is ultimately a test of humanity. Would people pay for it? Would people come in and value it? In 2018, the St. Louis location closed. So again, almost 8 years.
That's a long run.
Right. And again, when you consider that, I think it's
80%.
Right. I knew it was a
restaurants
majority.
Fail the first year, and the other 80% that succeed past the first year fail within the first
within five.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So lasting 8 years, I don't think you can necessarily call a failure.
Right. So what are they saying went wrong, though?
Let me skip down because they mention a few other locations. They say only one in Boston remains.
It's still operating. Okay.
Yes. They say, though the concept was designed to be self-sustaining, the restaurant operated at a loss. A recent paper looks at why the cafes did not work.
Okay.
Panera was a multi-million-dollar company, and the CEO owned Au Bon Par, or Au Bon Pain. It's that thing that
French. It's French.
It's a French name, but it's that really expensive grab-and-go thing inside airports that you've probably seen.
I think I might recall that.
Pair.
Yeah. They have it here with an N, but I thought it was pear. But the Panera CEO had previously owned that thing, but yet it was clear for us, this again from the paper, that he was so unaware of how consumers think and act and feel in the marketplace, in his marketplace in particular, that's why it missed the mark, said Susan Dobsha, a marketing professor at Bentley University who co-authored the paper. In Yelp reviews of the cafe, the researchers saw that many consumers didn't want to eat next to homeless people and complained about the atmosphere. People who were food insecure also didn't like it. Though the cafes were intended to provide dignity, people could pay as little as they could and weren't supposed to be questioned about it or made to feel like lesser consumers. It didn't work that way in practice. The company asked customers to limit themselves to one discounted meal a week or to volunteer an hour at the cafe to make up for the free meals. The company said, "We were not designed to be a permanent solution for those facing food insecurity, but that can make things complicated for people who wanted to take advantage of the service."
Plus, I mean, the idea of you want to have somebody come in and volunteer for an hour at a Panera.
Right.
I mean, the training that you'd have to go through alone just to be able to be, turned loose on food preparation, or maybe they were just having them take out the trash. I don't know, but that's hard to handle.
Skipping down, they mentioned that other restaurants that operate in a similar manner have survived.
Okay.
Company called Same Cafe. That's an acronym for So All May Eat, which is in Denver, which is a nonprofit restaurant that originally inspired Shake, is still operating. Eat, acronym for Everyone at the Table in Philadelphia, has been serving pay-as-you-wish dinners for the last 2 years. In Spain, guests eating breakfast and lunch at the Robin Hood restaurant foot the bills for others who eat supper. Karma Kitchen, a volunteer-run project, hosts a series of donation-only meals.
Oh, that's interesting. Before you go on, the one where they've got this sort of segregation of breakfast and lunch people pay for the people who eat supper. I thought it was interesting that, you had said that some of the Panera customers didn't want to actually eat around homeless people.
Right.
I guess they are, a little uncouth, right, in their behavior in certain circumstances. And when you go into a Panera, at least when I've been in them, they tend to be kind of like an upper middle class looking crowd, right?
Yeah, it's like a snobby Starbucks that has food instead of coffee.
Yeah. They got coffee too.
Yeah, I just think of it. It's a middle class wannabe more type of place. What I love is that this is another failed experiment in socialism, and Ian,
it's not social. It's not socialism.
It is.
This is a voluntary.
I understand that.
I know that you have a problem with Panera because they don't like people to have self-defense weapons.
Oh yeah,
it's not that they don't like me; they don't like my gun. So I choose not to go there.
Sure.
But again, this idea that
but this isn't socialism. The state was not involved at all in this.
That is
process.
true.
This is a voluntary form of wealth redistribution, and it didn't work out.
Which is going to fail, and that's why.
Well, not at these other places, apparently.
Well, not yet. This reminds me of the conversation we had with Matt Phillips when we were broadcasting from the New Hampshire Free State blockchain conference. Where he had talked about going out to Burning Man and how Burning Man is very much everybody gives away
the gift economy.
The gift economy. There we go. And my comment was that Burning Man lasts for a week?
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because any longer it would fail.
Not sustainable.
It is not sustainable.
Well, there are some people that say the same thing about the free economies that operate at things like PorkFest or ForkFest.
I understand. I think for charities to function, it has to be because people are willing to give. And I think when we try to confuse consumerism or purchasing things with the idea that you're going to be doing some good, I don't know. I just, when I heard about this to begin with, I thought this is going to crash and burn, and it did.
Crash and burn. Okay, but they operated at a loss, but these other places are still open.
Still.
So I want to know if we can maybe do some research here and give me a list of what they were called in just a moment, Darryl. We'll see if we can figure out how long these others have been around for. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free.
This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours. ld2coin.io.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Is pay what you can afford a viable business? Is it a sustainable concept? We're looking at
most restaurants aren't viable, sustainable businesses.
That's true. That's true. I heard about a restaurant here in Keene. I'm not going to say which one it was, but it was it's the old story where somebody with some money decides they want to have a restaurant.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Which
That'll
is like
work.
Almost the guaranteed failure, right, for a restaurant is when somebody doesn't know anything about restaurants.
Yeah, every restaurant that Gordon Ramsay goes to, pretty much on
one of those.
Kitchen Nightmares, is one of those. Oh, I thought it'd be fun to open a restaurant because, like, I enjoy cooking and eating, and I made money in this other thing. And he's like, yeah, you should have stuck with that other thing.
Right. So, so what happened in this one was apparently they pissed off their head chef, and he walked with, like, the sous chef or whatever. They walked and with no notice whatsoever. And so this newer restaurant in town has apparently they're looking desperately for a chef. But the thing is, in Keene, New Hampshire, and the same is true in larger places, but especially so in a smaller place like this one, the hospitality industry, everybody knows everybody else. So, word's going to get around that the owner of such and such a, restaurant is a jerk and you don't want to work for him. So it's going to get even harder.
Him or her.
For them to find, whoever it is. It's going to get even harder for these people to find a chef that's going to take that role. So anyway, we can talk more about this. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, and Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com, which does want you to know about Save It Purse. And Save It Purse is your way to save big time on your purchases through Amazon. It's SaveATPurse.com. SaveItPurse.com. Here's how you can save 20% easily on anything you want to buy from Amazon. You just go to SaveItPurse.com, load up the items in your Amazon shopping cart, and then you import your put it on your wish list on Amazon. You import your wish list into SaveItPurse.com, and then you select your discount. You can choose as little as 5%. Why you'd want to do that, I'm not sure, because you can easily get 20% off, or as high as 33%. Now, if you go up to the higher range, be prepared to wait. It may take a few weeks.
Oh, it took me all of like an hour and a half earlier today.
At what number?
33%.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
So you never know. It's like if you don't mind waiting a little bit, go for the higher end. And see,
I was totally expecting to wait a couple of days.
Sometimes
and it was like
weeks.
An hour and a half.
But usually when I do 20%, it's same day, within a few hours.
And you don't have to import the wish list anymore. They've made the searching feature on Purse a lot easier.
Oh, cool. Well, I usually get more than one thing.
Right.
But yeah.
Or, you can add things to your cart.
Oh, that's cool.
And then search and add more things.
Oh, good.
Or if you know, Amazon uses something called an ASIN.
Okay.
So if you...
It's like a UPC number,
the
basically.
Amazon something indexing number.
Right.
The S doesn't actually stand for something. I don't know what it stands for, but it's Amazon's indexing system.
Yeah.
So if you pull out that out of the URL and put that into Purse in the search bar, it pulls that direct item instead of you having to scroll through results.
So there's different ways to do it.
Yes.
Anyway, SaveATPurse.com. And Bitcoin.com wants you to know that you can now use Bitcoin Cash. The way this is working behind the scenes
what I did.
is you have either Bitcoin BTC or now Bitcoin Cash BCH. You load that into your wallet at SaveItPurse.com, and then you're basically selling your Bitcoin Cash to whoever it is that wants to buy behind the scenes, and it's Save It Purse that kind of just takes care of all that. They escrow the Bitcoin or the Bitcoin Cash, and then when you receive the product you want, the escrow gets released to the person who bought it for you. It's really amazing, and it works well. I use it all the time. SaveItPurse.com. We continue with your calls and thoughts. We can talk more about looking at these different businesses, because apparently the Panera experiment didn't really work out with the pay-as-you-can-afford restaurants that they had been experimenting with, although one is still open. That doesn't say that one is not operating at a loss, because apparently the other ones were. Maybe this one is too. And then there's these other ones.
And it was 34 minutes. I thought it was an hour and a half.
Oh, before somebody bought your Save It Purse.
34 minutes.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to your calls, though, and thoughts. First up, he's Anon calling from, or she, I don't know, calling from Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on the air. Who's this? Or I guess you're Anon.
This is anonymous.
Yes.
I want to remain anonymous.
That's fine.
But I'd like someone to call me and on this caller ID number that came in.
We don't have that.
Explain a couple of things so that I can learn how to run your dial of your radio station a little better.
How you can run the dial? What do you mean by that?
Basically, if someone, you've heard of the old story about Rip Van Winkle. the old fable where I don't know the fable real well. It's been many years. But
isn't that the guy that woke up after years of sleeping?
Fell asleep for 120 years, had a really long beard.
Something like that. Some long time span. He fell asleep, and then when he woke up, everything was different. Nobody knew him. He was a total, like almost the Star Trek deal where he beat me up, Scotty, and he somehow got lost in translation of where he put him, where Scotty put him, and he landed somewhere instead of in, say, New York City, he landed in Perth, Australia.
Has this happened to you?
Yeah, what does this have to do with your situation?
That's why I would like someone to call me and help explain your radio, your amp situation and
the amp situation. Okay, I'm confused as to what you are confused about. The AMP program is a system that allows our listeners to support our show for $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com. Folks like Loring, who is a Free Talk Live Platinum amplifier, he gives $25 a month. Now, that's not what we're asking for, but he decided to do that.
Nice.
So appreciate that. And they get perquisites, they get little benefits because they are Free Talk Live amplifiers, and there's a whole list of those over at amp.freetalklive.com. But is that what you were asking about, or was it something else?
Well, that's along the line. Back to the situation with Rip Van Winkle. Suppose that you today, whatever technology you have used and you understand, you can understand it 2,000 years from now. But that's all you could use. You couldn't use anything between now and 2,000 years up to 2,000 years in the future. And then suddenly you could use what you know about now.
So what you're saying is you have been disconnected from technology. Let me see if I'm following you here, Anon. You've been disconnected from technology for some time frame, and you find yourself confused now that you're back in the world of using technology. Were you in prison? Because that would seem to be the only likely reason why somebody would be so disconnected, unless you were like one of those people lost in the Japanese woods in 1942 or whatever it was. It hasn't been found since then.
That could be relevant. I'm not certain, but if you can imagine, I have watched movies before, but right now I choose not to go watch a movie.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the reason for that is pretty simple, but another reason that I don't actually type in, I'm not comfortable going on even an email on a service.
You don't have to use email to operate a computer.
Yeah,
to operate a radio.
I'm not sure if I want to continue with this call or not. It's so confusing.
Can you call me back sometime?
No, we don't do it that way.
We don't have.
This isn't a callback service. This is a talk radio show where we're on the radio. I'm going to debate whether or not we should hold on to Anon here because usually I'm pretty certain on these things. It's very strange call. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA, go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. We've got Anon on the line. We're going to continue with his call here in moments, where we're still trying to really figure it out. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Anarchapulco coming up in February. It's February 14th through the 17th. In beautiful Acapulco, Mexico, at the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. Going to be a great lineup of speakers discussing everything from entrepreneurship to investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. And those speakers will include Ron Paul, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Doug Casey, Larkin Rose, and many more. Still to be announced, anarchapulco.com. Use code FTL, like Free Talk Live. You'll save 15%. I'm looking forward to it. It was a great event in 2018 and 2017, the 2 years I've been. This, I believe, is year number 4, so you don't want to miss this. It's going to likely sell out again. It's sold out this year. Now, next year, they're almost doubling the size of the venue, and I still think it's going to sell out because Ron Paul. Anarchapulco.com, code FTL, save 15%. We'll see you February 14th through the 17th. Again, Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event. Anon is on the line with us here in Arizona. You had asked for us to call you back and answer some questions, but we don't do that. This is not a tech support show. However, I'm still curious as to exactly what it is you're trying to learn about. It's been very confusing so far. You referenced Rip Van Winkle, a fictional character who fell asleep for 100 years or whatever it was, and then obviously woke up very, very confused, sort of like movies have done this, a sort of fish out of water scenario. Encino Man, of course, is a popular one from the 1990s where the same sort of thing happens. Right. And all kinds of comedy ensues. Our talk show, our Discord chat, somebody has asked, Anon, Jackie asks if you are a time traveler.
Thank you. That does shed a little light on the situation.
Good.
So you may or may not be a time traveler?
We've cleared it up.
I say nothing. when it commits me to something. I don't know if I'm a time traveler. What I'm saying is, the question I have is how to navigate the call-in phone as you listen instead of the Discord.
Okay.
Or instead of email, or instead of some other medium of communication with Free Talk Live. So Jackie has a point, a good point. In other words, if all Jackie can do is through the Discord, and all I can do as anonymous is through the phone,
right?
We have a barrier.
Well, do you?
In our communication, but we may understand each other's situation well.
Right, but the show acts as that medium that allows one to communicate to another. Even though you're contacting the show through different means, you can speak to the concerns of somebody else who uses any other means.
Right, so a lot of the people in the Discord chat are listening to the show live. That's why they're talking about you right now in our chat room. You can't see what they're saying except for when we select out and share it with you. But anybody who wants to join the Discord can certainly do that, and you don't have to use a real email. So if you're, by the way, if you're concerned about anonymity, just use a throwaway email address when you join the Discord. You can make up any kind of
right,
name
but see,
you want.
Ian, there are some people that they won't even get on the internet.
He's obviously on the internet. How are you listening to the show?
Thank you, Darryl. Darryl, you have hit the nail.
Hold on. How are you listening to the show?
I'm listening on the telephone.
So
through the call-in line.
Call-in line.
How did you get that number?
I have listened to your show on the call-in line for a long time, and it's the only way I usually listen to your show.
But how did you get the number for the call-in line in the first place?
The very, very first place, a friend of mine, he may have been an amp, or I don't know, but he gave me the phone number and said, you ought to go listen to this. Some of the stuff that they talked about is real interesting, and he gave a
So you don't get on the
reference.
internet. You don't get on the internet at all, then?
I choose. Let me give a metaphor or another way to look at the question you've asked. You've asked, this anonymous person, get on the internet?
Yep.
Only when absolutely forced.
When forced to. So basically you've never gotten on the internet, because why would anyone force you?
No, that's not the case.
Give me an example of a time when you were forced to get on the internet. I'd like to know.
Let me illustrate this another direction very quickly. If you were an electrician that understood commercial electronic and house electronic and industrial and just building motors, let's say an electrical engineer.
Okay.
And then you had a very intelligent 4-year-old boy following you around. And you say to this 4-year-old boy, I never put my hand into a live panel box because it could hurt me.
It's good advice.
So I turn off the breaker, or I turn off the main power supply before I put my hand in the panel box.
Good advice.
Yep.
Okay.
Says to himself, okay, I understand that. That's wonderful. So I cannot get hurt if I put my hand in the panel box with this switch in this position. Then he comes back 3 weeks later, and some very intelligent person puts some automation into the system. Now, the same switch can be in the same position, but it's bypassed with 480
What the hell does that have to do with when you were forced to use the internet?
I
choose to use the internet when I could tell that it was on and off.
Okay.
So in other words, I like an offline system.
So dial-up modems, when you were calling on the dial-up modem, you couldn't be connected to the internet unless you were connected on your dial-up modem.
I'm sure you could still get dial-up.
Right, but see,
Now
there's
you've
the
got-
conspiracy. Hold on, Chris. There's the conspiracy now that there's some sort of unseen router thing in every computer that the CIA can just hack into, even when your computer is off
or disconnected.
Well, that's not conspiracy. That's actually the purpose of some of the chips that are in these computers. But
you still have to be connected to some sort of network in order to be.
Well, it could also activate your internet connection and stuff like that.
Not if there's a cable pulled out of the back of it.
True.
Right.
Assuming you have no wireless, assuming you're in a location.
True. Right. But there are people that say that even when you think that your computer is turned off and it's not plugged in and the battery's pulled off, there's a secret battery that the CIA can connect to.
It goes a little crazy.
And then they're watching your webcam and they see everything you do. So you can't even be in the same room as a computer.
Footmatic says it's the heat out here in Arizona makes people wacko. Anon, I'm going to thank you for the call.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten about all of that I can handle.
That we could get.
Yeah.
We're trying.
So glad you like the show.
Appreciate it.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And it is interesting to know that there are people out there sharing our dial-up number
That's great.
where people can listen to what is basically the worst quality of audio that you can possibly find with Free Talk Live. I mean, we've covered free-to-air satellite, which
but it's better than asking a friend to transcribe the show and then mail you postcards.
That's
arguably
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what's the number offhand? I don't even know. You can go to our website.
I had actually just pulled it up a moment ago because...
Did you? Of course you did.
Right, because somebody had asked me for it not too long ago.
Listen.freetalklive.com has the number on that page.
712-775-8114.
Now, which one is that, though?
It's the listen line that you gave me about a week ago.
Okay, that might be the LRN listen line. I'm not sure which one we talked about because there's one that's Free Talk Live only. There's one that's LRN.FM. There's also the LRN.FM audio on demand line as well. So we've got like 3 or 4 different telephone numbers that you can call to hear Free Talk Live at various different times. But if you want the numbers, go to listen.freetalklive.com or listen.lrn.fm. Either one of those will give you a few different numbers that you can try out. And you probably should program more than one of them in case there's like an outage on one of them because that does happen from time to time. But just so you know, the audio to those lines is fed over the internet. So, you're not connected to the internet, but the line's connected to the internet. That's how they get our signal. That's how you get the
matrix.
And also we feed our satellite service provider over the internet as well. So the internet's pretty integral to what we do here on Free Talk Live. More coming up. You can join us.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA, go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com. The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, don't forget you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. All the features we give to you on the site, they are free. We mentioned our AMP program a moment ago. There's a lot of cool perks you get as an amplifier. Go to amp.freetalklive.com and get signed up for that at amp.freetalklive.com. It makes us very happy when you do that because it shows that, well, you value what we do and that you want us to do more of it in more places on more radio stations. We've got 190 great AM and FM radio stations across the country today. And though we have talked about some of our other delivery methods tonight, we talked about free-to-air satellite, the phone system actually just got a mention in the last call. Yep. Radio's our primary distribution method. That's where we're heard by the most people, and that's how we started the show. We started on the radio back in 2002 down in Florida, and so that's the primary method that we use here, and it's important because a lot of people still listen to the radio. Even though we kind of, those of us who are on the internet all the time, it's easy to think, oh, everybody's online. No, everyone really isn't online.
Right.
And not all of them are like that last caller. Many of them just, they're not interested in being online. They got other things to do, or they only get online when they're at their job or something like that. We've met these people in real life at the county fair.
We've also met people that, I don't have a computer at home. Why do I need one?
Some people feel that way, and that's fine. And a lot of those folks, and even people who do get online, still listen to the radio, maybe while they're driving to work or whatever. So it's important to be there because we want to spread the ideas of liberty and peace and freedom and cryptocurrency to as many people as possible. So we'll do it wherever we can, whether it's on Twitch, on our video stream at twitch.lrn.fm, over YouTube, over free-to-air satellite, or over the radio. If you want to help us with our mission, then please join the AMP program, ampamp.freetalklive.com. We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts, but we did some more digging. Before the last calls, we were talking about these restaurants that are kind of experimental, pay-as-you-can-afford restaurants. The Panera versions of this apparently have mostly closed their doors with the exception of one in Boston, apparently. All of them having lost money over the years. So even though one of them made it for 8 years, it wasn't ever a profitable thing, even though it was originally organized as a nonprofit. You still have to bring enough money in to pay all the staff and everything.
There are some people that ask whether this was a PR stunt or if it was... Yes, by Panera, or if it was an attempt to basically funnel some money away to sort of make it look like the profits were lower.
Oh, please.
That seems silly.
I mean, I can see businesses doing this to garner good press.
Right.
And that doesn't make it a bad thing.
Yeah, that's the same reason Walmart sends a truck full of water down to the hurricane victims.
Exactly.
Or why the one horrible beer company, Busch or Budweiser, they will also, for like a week right after some disaster, only put actual water instead of beer-flavored water in their cans.
Right.
And then they send that down to the places.
Yeah. And that's all fine. And those are good PR moves that garner good press. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I just find this idea to be somewhat disingenuous and questionable.
Now, what about, instead of the pay-as-you-go model, the pay-it-forward model, to where you have to pay full price for your meal, and if you want to, you can buy an additional meal, and then they'll put a little sticky note on, here's the prepaid meals, and then if somebody comes in and they don't have money for food, they can pull one of these sticky notes off the wall.
I think that's fine, because then there is scarcity. If you are out of those, then that may prompt more people to put sticky notes up.
Okay.
And at the same time, if you're hungry and you haven't eaten, maybe you got to get up a little early to go make sure you get a sticky note. All I know is that we talked about a couple of these. We talked about Same Cafe in Denver, and we talked about
Eat was in Philly, I think.
Eat in Philly. And I tried to do a little bit of research just to see where they're getting their funding from.
Right.
And
the first thing we looked at was Eat, and it looked like they were tied in with a college,
Drexel University in Philly.
That's
so
likely
that was
college funded, which means there's probably some state money coming in there somewhere.
Yeah, and then I go look at the one Same Cafe in Denver, and it doesn't take too long.
Drexel is a private college.
Oh, really?
Okay,
but don't a lot of private colleges still take state money? Because
if by take state money you mean that they allow people with student loans and Pell Grants, then yes, they take state money.
Right.
But they're not funded the same way the state university system is funded by the state.
I'll keep digging into that, but when I look at Same Cafe in Denver, they accept donations and things like that, but they also get donations through their community partners like Certifiably Green Denver, which... if you click on the link here, it takes you to the city of Denver. If you go to Denver Botanical Gardens, which is another funding source, then there's, ties to local government. They just got a $17 million bond to expand their parking through the city of Denver. So it doesn't take too many steps before these things that sound really good and really, sort of homegrown.
They're subsidized.
They are subsidized at some level through government, and that means that people that may not approve of these same programs are actually funding these programs.
And it also likely means they're not sustainable. If they have to be subsidized, that's usually why.
Yeah.
But again, most restaurants aren't sustainable.
Well, that's true. That's true. But the ones that are, they work out and they stick around for a long time.
Yeah.
And these haven't. So it's interesting. It's interesting. And maybe if they were doing it the way Darryl suggested, or maybe there are ways to make it work.
There are restaurants that do the pay it forward thing. There's a story from CBS 7 out of Big Spring, Texas, about a restaurant out there, the Mayo Sauce Family Diner. They got the idea after reading about a Chicago pizza parlor that sells $1 slices of pizza, and they encourage people to pay it forward. And, hey, I'm paying for 3 slices. I only want 2.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. And again, I'm not saying it's impossible for one of these models to work out, but it's interesting to find out whether they do or they don't. And these are the things that can be tried if there's a free market, where you don't have insane government regulations standing in the way, raising costs, because it's not cheap to start a restaurant.
Right.
And a lot of that cost is because of the government and all of its mandates that they put on restaurateurs and startups from getting started. It can prevent somebody from being able to, let's say, open up a restaurant in their own home, where they would be able to serve people for a much lower cost and add more competition into the marketplace.
Right.
Unfortunately, the government stands in the way and ultimately protects the existing restaurateurs who have put in the $200,000 vent hood or whatever it is they have to put in. These crazy mandates on equipment.
I've heard that to upgrade an existing kitchen to a commercial kitchen cost about $500,000.
Yeah, that sounds about what I've heard.
Unbelievable.
And I've never actually looked into it. I can't imagine all the just just so difficult requirements.
We actually know a guy that he was trying to open a restaurant that it was going to be a pickled style restaurant where nothing was actually going to be cooked.
I saw him recently.
And he still, after spending like $100,000 on doing all kinds of stuff to meet some arbitrary decisions, wound up realizing that he was never going to get approved.
Yeah, he gave up.
Yeah, they told him, you have to put a double firewall between the kitchen area and the serving area.
He'd even
I'm not cooking anything. Nothing at any time is ever going to be producing heat. And they said, well, you might use a microwave at some time. So let's just do a single firewall instead of a double.
I saw him actually at the Bitcoin Heretics event the night that the last night of the blockchain conference. He actually came out to that, and he was telling me about, because I'd asked him, like, how's your restaurant going? He's like, oh, yeah, that didn't work out after I spent my life savings trying to make it work out, because they bought the building that they were renovating, right? Because you can't just easily go in and renovate somebody else's building without some serious negotiations. So they own this property, and now they're renting it out to some other whatever it is that they're renting it out to. So it's like, it's not a total loss, but ultimately they've lost a ton of money trying to jump through the regulatory hurdles to ultimately no avail. And how many times does that happen to people that you never hear about? Right? There's you can see all the restaurants that open and fail, but what about the ones like you're talking about, where there's just this ridiculous government?
They never even made it to grand opening.
Right. Yep. And then pour a bunch of money in and then just have to call it quits.
Yep. Sad.
So the toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. Still to come here, Darryl, we actually had intended to talk about another homeless-related story, and that is there's a story
out of Ohio where there's a property owner, not a homeowner. He owns some property.
Okay.
And he's fighting to allow the homeless to stay on his property.
On what he thinks is his property.
Yes.
Because if it were your property, you wouldn't have to fight anybody over it.
You wouldn't have to ask in the first place.
We'll continue with what's going on there, because this actually happened here in Keene, New Hampshire a few years back, and I think that struggle is still continuing for that property owner. There's more coming up here in moments. Hour number 3 is next on Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 44055. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We're in St. Louis, Missouri.
To deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 44055. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 44055.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 19th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zen is trading at $13, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,487. Antiwar.com reports while the Trump administration has long maintained that sanctions against North Korea don't impact humanitarian aid, in practice, the administration has banned all American aid groups from the country, shutting down aid efforts. This comes as the administration looks to increase sanctions against North Korea and to make sure that growing diplomatic progress between them and the rest of the world does not end up easing their isolation. That means cutting humanitarian projects. The State Department said there are a range of factors behind the decision to ban all of these aid groups from North Korea, and that officially they're being handled on a case-by-case basis. All U.S. groups involved in such projects, however, are getting the same answer, rejecting their travel. Aid groups also reported confusion at the Treasury Department about the regulation and licensing of NGOs that had worked with North Korea's government, including on aid projects. Cutting through the red tape is all but impossible at this point. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports animal rights activists covered in bloody body paint demonstrated topless Thursday in New York City to protest outfitter Canada Goose over the treatment of coyotes and geese. The protesters, supporters of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, set off red smoke bombs and unfurled a large banner with what they said is a more accurate version of the Canada Goose logo. The demonstrators rallied outside Canada Goose's flagship Manhattan location. PETA has posted videos online showing the abuse of geese, which are starved and left in cages for hours before they are slaughtered. These geese are taken from James Valley Colony Farms in Canada to a slaughterhouse at Schlitz Food in South Dakota. Goose down is used as a filling for their jackets. PETA stated on the website, once they have been unloaded for slaughter, these geese watch, terrified as other frightened birds were again grabbed by the neck, stunned, shackled upside down by their legs, and killed right in front of them. The group also accuses Canada Goose of trapping coyotes and using their fur to trim coats. PETA Executive Vice President Tracy Ryman said PETA is calling on shoppers to refuse to give a dime to this cruel company until it stops selling items for which sensitive animals are tormented and killed. PETA's campaign against Canada Goose also includes large banners near a store in Chicago that read, "I'm a living being, not a jacket filling," and "Boycott Canada Goose." PETA Clothing Campaigns Manager Christina Sewell said, "This is our big campaign for the fall and winter, so this is where all our firepower is going right now." Banners will soon be on display at several other Canada Goose locations. Canada Goose officials say their treatment of animals is ethical and humane. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports President Donald Trump's administration on Thursday for a second time asked the U.S. Supreme Court to put the brakes on a lawsuit filed by young activists who have accused the U.S. government of ignoring the perils of climate change. In the lawsuit, 21 activists between the ages of 11 and 22 said federal officials violated their rights to due process under the U.S. Constitution by failing to adequately address carbon pollution such as emissions from burning of fossil fuels. The lawsuit was filed in 2015 against former President Barack Obama and government agencies in a federal court in Eugene, Oregon. Both the Obama and Trump administrations have failed in an effort to have the lawsuit thrown out. On July 30th, the Supreme Court rejected an earlier application by the Trump administration, saying it was premature. Eugene, Oregon-based federal judge Ann Aiken on Monday issued another ruling allowing the case to move forward to trial on October 29th if either the High Court or the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals do not intervene. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A study published Friday by the University of Minnesota found that mosquitoes have no physiological reason for biting humans, with researchers noting that the insects feed exclusively on pollen and seemingly only suck human blood out of spite.
According to our findings, mosquitoes usually spit out the blood after a bite. They just really enjoy ruining outdoor activities and spreading deadly diseases.
Researchers added that mosquitoes often bite a variety of vertebrates besides humans, including baby pandas, koala bears, and very small puppies, all for fun. And in tech news, a new Visa talking credit card urges buyers to go for it.
Come on, buy it. You know you want it.
In other news, the utterance of a secret password grants customers access to a long-rumored 18-inch Subway sandwich. It's easy to tell what an area man would look like as a skeleton, and a longtime teacher retires without changing a single student's life. This week's scheduled interview with the surly and forlorn Matthew Modine was cut for time and is doomed to never be seen. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. Open phones, as always, where you can take control of the airwaves if you like. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms that are open and available to you. Just head over to discord.lrn.fm where people are talking about this lotto thing. Apparently, there's a lot of money in the offering on some kind of Powerball or
Mega Millions.
It's one of these multi-state things, right?
Yes.
That's what it is. So, yeah, people are talking. Go to discord.lrn.fm. You can join the conversation in our chat rooms there, and there's a few of them. There's several, actually. And then there's the one room that's for on-air discussion amongst the listeners. And then if you want to call in, you join the Discord on-air call-in lines. There's 3 of them right there at the top of our chat room list. Just hop into one of those rooms. We'll join you, and you'll get on the air and sound almost like you're in the studio with us. We've been talking about, off and on tonight, some issues regarding homelessness. And we started out talking about your right to be able to feed the homeless, finally being upheld somewhat by a federal appeals court. That one's still kind of working its way through the court system, led to a larger discussion about rights in general. And now we're going to focus in on a different story, property rights when it comes to helping the homeless, because the feeding of the homeless had been going on public property, meaning, on a beach or a park in like Orlando, for instance.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, well, in Orlando, it was at a park. In Fort Lauderdale, it was at a beach. Maybe it's done on sidewalks in some places as well.
In Fort Lauderdale, it was done on a sidewalk right next to the beach on what they call the boardwalk, but it wasn't wooden.
Right, public place.
It was a public place, which presumably in public you have rights to do things.
Correct.
Presumably.
And also on your private property,
Yes.
you should have rights, and in fact, an even greater range, because you get to set the rules on your private property. At least you should.
You don't get to say everybody that steps onto my property for supper gets shot in the face.
Nope, you don't get to do that. You don't get to aggress against other people, but on your property, you get to set the rules. And so, if you want to allow somebody to give food to the homeless, you should be able to do that. In this case, it's not about giving food to the homeless, but giving a home to the homeless.
Yes. Story from the New York Times out of Ohio. In the early days, Sage Lewis admits the homeless encampment that he allowed on his property was, quote, like the Wild Wild West. Residents drank alcohol, built campfires, and argued loudly.
As you would expect.
It smelled bad. Neighbors complained. As the months passed and the campsites grew from a few people to a few dozen, Mr. Lewis said conditions improved. Drinking was banned, residents elected their own leaders, and volunteers dropped off food and clothing. Mr. Lewis came to see the encampment as a model for using private land to help the homeless. In city after city, homeless encampments have sprung up on sidewalks, in parks, under bridges, vexing local governments. In Akron, the rows of battered tents, some patched with tarps and ropes, were erected on private property and with the blessing of the landowner.
Right.
But where some see an altruistic effort to take a problem off the city's hands,
others see an eyesore.
Officials for the city saw something else, a blatant violation of zoning.
Oh, no.
They want the residents and the tents gone by Turkey Gobble Day.
Jeez. Or else men with guns will come and do it for you.
Mr. Lewis filed a lawsuit on Tuesday appealing the city's refusal to exempt him from the zoning rules which ban camping. He says, this has always been a private person with private money on private land helping the homeless. I don't want anything from the government. I don't want any of that. We can take care of these people.
If only you were free to do that sort of thing. But they don't want camping. Camping's not allowed. We can't have people just camping on property that they own because
reasons.
Someone somewhere didn't like it at some point.
And, don't we know a state representative who is going through a similar situation involving himself?
We do.
Do we?
Michael Sylvia.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
He had the audacity to stay in. He has a camper, right?
Correct.
An RV.
He had a fire on his property
prior to him purchasing it. It burned down the house.
Yep. So
there's a garage left,
right?
And the state, or the city in this case,
so they're not alleging that he committed arson to burn down a building.
He wasn't even there at that time. But okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought you were going to be referring to the state representative, former state rep here in Keene, who actually has used his property behind the Hannaford grocery store to allow homeless encampments, and it basically ran up against this exact same problem. But I don't believe took it to court, whereas this guy in Akron is taking it to court.
Yes.
But the guy you're talking about that's involved in an issue right now is not only a state representative, he's also a listener and longtime supporter of Free Talk Live.
Yes, and an amplifier. We gave him a shout out a couple nights ago.
And the top number one most liberty-oriented state rep, according to the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, he won the Representative of the Year or whatever award it was, and that was after years of getting A+. So he's been amazing the whole time.
So do we know if there's a resolution to his thing? Because I know he had a hearing a few weeks ago.
He did not tell me, and I asked him to keep me in the loop, and he said that he would in that particular case. But to recap what's going on with him, the house burned down before he bought the property. He bought the property probably at a pretty good deal. And
because
it had
no house.
Right. It had a garage on it, and he parked an RV there. And the town government, even though there's no neighbors he's in the woods, so there's no neighbors immediately around, at least that from we could tell by a satellite photo. Somehow, the town decided they didn't like him, probably because of his politics, because he's a liberty guy, and they targeted him. They specifically asked the zoning enforcement officer to target his property. When this guy came on board with the job, he told the news media that it was the town selectmen who had instructed him to go after Mike Sylvia's property, and he did. And he threatened him, and he said, I believe that you're living on this property in violation of blah, 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 whatever ordinance or zoning, etc. Now, he doesn't know for sure that Mike's living there.
Right.
He only saw Mike exit the RV on occasion. He saw smoke coming from a chimney in the garage. So he believes that Mike is living on the property. He saw shoveled pathways during the wintertime.
Well, they know that Mike lives on the property because that's what he has listed as his domicile and his place for where he's registered to vote.
Yeah, I don't think Mike's going to likely win this on a argument over the facts. But either way, this is a fundamental attack on your right to property.
The question is whether or not he is living partially in the RV and partially in the garage type thing without some kind of occupancy license.
That's the legal question in play, but the real question is, shouldn't you be able to do what the hell you want to do on what is purportedly your own property?
What exactly is an occupancy license to live on property that you supposedly own?
It's crazy. It's just insane, which is why I suggested to Mike that maybe if he gets reelected here in November, that he should put in a bill to abolish zoning entirely. Can we just have that, please, to where because New Hampshire is a state-run kind of government. There's no home rule. The towns can only do what they're allowed to do by the state government, and obviously the state has allowed for zoning. Well, it's time for the state to disallow zoning and abolish it entirely from across the entire state of New Hampshire. Problem solved.
There you go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to. I hope he does, because it would be awesome. I would love to have that conversation, because in New Hampshire, every bill that is put forward by all the 400 state representatives,
and the 24 senators.
Right, so there's hundreds and hundreds of bills every year. Every one of them has to have a public hearing, and I would love to see the bureaucrats come out and make an argument as to why zoning is necessary, because it's not.
Oh, they'll do it, and I say that as
they will. Yeah,
I'll say that as a member of a planning board.
Yeah.
They will tell you that without planning, then you're going to have all sorts of crazy businesses next to residences, and it just ends up being insane. And you can
Hold on,
and
can I make
say,
a phone call? Mayor of Houston, how's the no zoning thing work out in the 5th largest city in the United States?
I think it might be the 7th.
Oh,
yeah, it's
pretty good. Okay, thank you.
Right. How about the cities or towns? I guess they're all towns. But how about the towns in New
Dozens
Hampshire
of them that don't have zoning?
Grafton doesn't have it. Leominster doesn't have it. There's others. I just don't know what they are.
Everybody else will point to those and say they had one problem 10 years ago, so we can't do it either.
You know what the real problem is all the bureaucrats who are the city planners will get fired because they won't be necessary anymore.
And the code enforcers.
And they're going to fight against it tooth and nail. More coming up.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up whatever you want. Our number for you, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. We got a Discord caller waiting. We're going to get to that. Coming up here in a moment, we're talking about property rights or the illusion of property rights, because as long as the government is around, you don't really have a right to do what you want on your property, because if you have to beg for permission, sorry, you don't have a right. You are then a privileged user of a thing the government controls at that point. And it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is at the moment. We'd like to see that changed, but unfortunately, until we can get enough people to move to New Hampshire and concentrate their activism, it's very unlikely that anything significant is going to change. We definitely need more people to get up and make the move here. Like your girlfriend just did, Darryl.
Yeah,
right. The newest mover here to the area, and she seems to be liking it up here. It's cold, but you know what? There's more freedom here, and more people who care about freedom, and that's what matters.
Snuggling.
Well, I don't think you
need to go into all that.
Share her
Darryl,
around on that, Darryl. I think that's something exclusive.
I'm just saying that
enjoyment.
That does wind up helping one deal a little bit with the cold.
Cold, yes. Snuggling is better
true?
when it's cold out. That is true. I'll
Yes.
give you that. All right, so I want you to know that Zencash has rebranded to Horizon. The crypto, however, is still called Zen, and we've been giving away Zen over the last couple months here on Free Talk Live. We've given away over 14.5 Zen, and we're doing another giveaway. This one is easier than the last ones to enter, so if you've been not entering this because you've been like, I don't want to pick a number, well, now you don't have to. Now all you have to do to enter this contest is set up your Zen wallet. You can use the official one from horizon.global. You can use Koinomi, whatever you want to use. As long as you get a Zen address that you can send to Darryl at freetalklive.com, then you'll be entered into this next contest, and the winner will be chosen Wednesday, October 24th. So you have less than a week. Noon Eastern Time is about when the winner is going to be chosen. So get your entries in. Darryl, Darryl, at freetalklive.com. Just send your Zen address to Darryl. It has to be the public, what they call transparent Zen address, and then Darryl will send it to you if you are the winner. You'll win 1.75 Zen, and you'll automatically be entered into the grand prize drawing, which happens on November 7th of, I believe, 2 Zen is the grand prize?
Yes.
2 Zen. So once again, send your Zen address to Darryl at freetalklive.com and learn more about Horizon and their platform for privacy, because it's more than just a crypto, at horizen.global, horizon.global. As we continue here, let's go to Free Market Penguin. He's on our Discord on-air call-in line. Go ahead.
Hey, greeting, Minister. How you guys doing?
Welcome.
I want to share a pretty bad experience, kind of an upsetting experience that I had. And I have pretty decent luck with things. Not too many eventful things going on to me, but I had a pretty bad experience last night.
Oh God, what happened?
Nothing foreign to you. So I was doing, what I'm sure I mentioned a few times before. I'm a ride sharing driver. That's what I'm doing. Actually, most of my income right now, I'm kind of becoming self-employed.
Okay.
And,
so you're doing Uber and Lyft, right? You're doing a couple different companies.
I am actually, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So hence the ride sharing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, it's great. It's a great way of making money. Obviously, taking into consideration.
Sure, but every now and then, I'm just gonna predict. Every now and then, you're gonna get, if you're driving at nighttime, you're gonna encounter some undesirable customer. Go ahead. What happened?
Well, it was an undesirable, but it wasn't an undesirable customer. It was a filthy, lying road pirate.
A cop
assaulted me. Yeah, assaulted me. And for the first time, I've had a few experiences, not recently, hardly at all.
Was there a customer in your car at the time?
There was.
Oh, wow.
And so lies to my face and to his face, as this guy was in the front seat, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We were into a whole conversation when the blue and red lights go on.
Jeez.
And blatantly lies that look, I'm telling you like this, there's absolutely no way. I am very systematic. I'm not a speed guy at all. I'm going, it's 45, I'm probably going about 48. 49, but definitely not over 50. I don't do that, and I really don't do that with a passenger in the car. It's just not appropriate. Look, I keep it professional. I like to think of it that I'm professional, right?
Right.
She claims the radar has me going 66, and my passenger objects even more vehemently than I do. And he's obviously pretty pissed. Well, he wants to get where he's going too, but he's pissed that she's lying right to our face, flashing that light in our faces, and takes my license. Look, my license come back clean. My plate, I'm sure when it popped up on the screen as soon as she got behind me, came up clean. And I have a witness in the car willing to go to court for me. And she brings, so we knew she was going to bring back the license and let it go. And it's one of those things. I've been pulled over before. She asked for my license. She didn't ask for my proof of insurance or my registration. She didn't ask me if I had any weapons. It was a blatant, I want to shine this flashlight in your car and run your license. And here's the thing. She said, we clocked you at 66. What's 66 in a 45? Let's see. It's the lowest possible speed. They say reckless.
Right.
Or it's one over, depending how lost you're in. So she had me on a reckless. And do you think she'd really let me go on a reckless? So I was lied to my face by a so-called public servant. And frankly, I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had that experience before. But I've also never been pulled over by that particular department.
Right.
But I always heard about them.
Unreal.
And it just makes me, I mean, to my face, but it's not even, it was at least 15 miles an hour over my actual speed at the time.
So hold on. Did she actually issue you a ticket?
Absolutely not. As soon as she ran my license, about 2 minutes later, she brings back the thing and tells me to go because I have a witness right. I have a witness right there.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not worth it. And I'm sure she, I'm sure she didn't want to inconvenience two people. Honestly, she's a human being. She probably felt bad for it. She having a very, monotone voice. She probably felt bad for it. She just has a not quota. She has a performance review coming up or something.
Right.
And there was a time not too long ago, I wanted to be a cop. And, dude, if I was put in that kind of position, I can see why it goes poorly for anybody that wants to.
But isn't she only going to win on her performance review if she actually writes a ticket? So the fact that she might have a performance review coming up wouldn't be that would make it more likely she'd write a ticket.
She didn't get any probable cause for a search when she flashed the light. She didn't get somebody.
Well, that's not a search.
She didn't get.
That's
she
a
didn't
look
get.
At plain view.
Yeah. She didn't get. Let's see.
What kind of car do you drive?
Subaru Crosstrek, late model Subaru Crosstrek.
So yeah, you got to usually have a newer. You usually have to have a newer car to work for these companies in the first place, anyway. So you've got a decent looking car. You weren't driving like a beater or something like that.
And I expected the people to drive beaters and cars with lights out and everything. And I know what kind of people they harass poorer people. I accept that that's the case.
But you are a brown man, correct?
Not terribly noticeably. No? I'm on the light. I'm mixed.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't think I get. So maybe I was saying, what if I was a little bit a darker guy, a black guy?
But you're a younger guy.
What if I was alone?
Yeah.
What if I was alone?
Right.
And I didn't have that witness there. That's what I'm saying. I had that witness there, and I believe he would have gone to court for me because he was pretty PO'd about it.
But I think what I hear
so-called public servant.
Now, I was just going to say, what I hear in all this is these are systemic problems, and we talk about individual cases and things like that, but the whole system is sort of geared to these bad decisions and bad incentives, and it's horrific, and it's surprisingly not surprising. What does that make people
think about their government?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's also interesting getting the customer's reaction. If you want to talk a little more, we can. If not, thanks for telling the story. There's more coming up here in moments. Thanks for the call, dude.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad you didn't get beaten because it could have been a lot worse. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
A Rasmussen poll reveals that nearly all American voters share a deep fear of botching another election, with most voters admitting that selecting candidates for public office is something they're historically just not particularly good at.
I really hope I don't completely fuck things up as usual, but you never know. Things do happen.
According to the poll, 3/4 of voters said Election Day panic would cause them to base their vote entirely on hearsay, while 93% acknowledged that they only recognized names of local candidates from signs along state highways. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa, stunned friends and acquaintances expressed shock and disbelief when a body found in the woods turned out not to be Justin. Local residents found the naked corpse draped over a tree stump Saturday, and as news spread, many found themselves struggling to comprehend how it wasn't Justin lying dead in the forest.
I heard the news, and I still can't come around to it. I just can't imagine that it's not Justin there lying dead in the woods. Are they absolutely sure it's not him?
Friends and family are still urging authorities to double-check the body, or at the very least, bring in Justin as a suspect.
This is the Onion News Network. Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You are invited here to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE with you tonight. It's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
AnyPay.global. You use it at your shop, Chris.
I do.
It is a great system to accept cryptocurrency at the point of sale in real life at a cash register. So if you've been wanting to take Bitcoin or Dash at your point of sale, then please get over to AnyPay.global. Get signed up for your account. So easy to do. It's username and password, and you're in. And that's it. And then you just put your cryptocurrency addresses in the setup page, load the app on your tablet at the register, and you're done. You're accepting crypto that fast.
It is easy.
AnyPay.global will keep you informed as they got cool new developments on the horizon, new cryptos perhaps coming up. In fact, I believe it's not officially supported yet, but if you look in your back end, you might see Zen.
Really?
That has been announced.
They did officially announce that. That's right.
Zen sent it out, and Derek J. even mentioned it when we were in Portsmouth, or it might have been Steven. One of them mentioned it, and I happen to have seen the email earlier that day where Zen had announced.
Awesome. On anypay.global.
Yes.
Head on over there and get signed up tonight. As we continue here, you can bring up what you want. We go to the Discord on-air call-in line room, so we can talk more about homelessness and private property here in a moment. But Drew is on the line, spelled J-R-O-O, from Philly. You're on Free Talk Live. Drew in Philly. Going once. Drew in Philly. Going twice. That's what I get for not screening. Every time, man. Every time. Well, we'll try him back here in a little bit after we find out what's going on, because maybe his sound card setup isn't right. Let's go instead to Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, I just want to mention that this year, this election here in New Mexico is like the year of the women. We got women judges running. We got representatives and senators running within our state, the Rotunda, and then we got 4 women fighting for 2 congressional seats.
So it's a cat fight, is what you're saying.
Are you surprised by
Well,
that?
you know what? Well, traditionally, mostly it was held by Steve Pierce. He was a man but there's 2 women fighting for that one, and then there's 2 women for fighting for my district. And then there's one up in Santa Fe's house.
Have they torn each other's bras off yet? That's my question.
Well, I don't know.
It's not 1990s WWF.
I've seen that happen in real life.
It's a bra and panty match.
I saw that happen in real life when I was in kindergarten. It happened near the playground. I was in kind of an urban neighborhood, and a couple of women were literally windmilling their arms at one another and tearing at each other's clothing. So
Pay good money to see stuff like that.
Actually happens. Anyway, I'm joking, obviously, but what is the relevance? I mean, do you think it matters that the candidates are female versus male?
Well, you know what? As a woman, I'm really excited that we got so much judges running and so many women are running for political office within our state.
If it was here's a question for you. As a woman, if you were voting in an election and it was a man versus a woman, regardless of the woman's political party, would you vote for her?
No, I stick with a party, no matter what gender.
Okay.
Then what difference does it make, that there are more women running if you're just voting for the party anyway?
Well, you know what? I really just like that idea, and I'm just hoping that we could change this, like a very male-dominated, very chauvinistic culture here, like the culture here that's like women are just second class. And
oh, please.
Harassment.
This is the most ridiculous claim. I am sorry, but I don't buy it for a moment. The way that women can make men just do whatever it is that they want to do is like so crystal clear to me. I mean, that's pretty common out there. Women hold a lot of cards when it comes to men because men are desperate and they will do whatever it is that a lot of women want them to.
Right,
so
and none of what Sarah said answered my question of if you're just voting for your party anyway, what difference does it make that more women are running for office?
Well, I mean, my party. But what I'm saying is that it's just exciting that we got so many.
She doesn't have an answer for you, Darryl.
I know.
Hold on. Okay, so what about this question?
To, make it some sort of gender issue and saying, as a woman, I'm happy to see women running. But if a guy said, as a man, I'm happy to see so many men running. That would be
offensive, right?
That would be offensive, and I'm just trying to figure out because I honestly don't care. Man, woman, transsexual, octopus, whatever.
That reminds me. So do you have any children, Sarah?
No, I'm childless.
Okay, that's what I thought. Somebody was lying about you in the chat room the other night. They were saying you had a daughter and they had dated her. So I thought they were...
actually, this year I'm voting for a woman for governor, a man for Congress, and transsexual for sheriff.
That's right. Because you can do that here in New Hampshire.
That you can.
Yes.
Keene, New Hampshire. Okay, so Sarah, if it was a primary, a Democratic primary, because I'm going to presume that's what you do. If you go to the primary and vote, and it's a woman candidate who's a Democrat versus a man candidate who's a Democrat, Do you vote for the woman regardless of her positions?
Well, you know what? I actually voted for the homosexual, the Pat Davis. Remember in the
That
primary?
didn't answer my question either. Do you vote for the woman regardless of her positions? Now, again, we're talking about both Democrats.
Well, no, I see. You know, I really look at how much effort that they put in. And what I
So
know
it's in
about
theory you
them.
would vote for a man if you felt he was putting more effort in to the election.
Right. If I know what his accomplishments
So really,
are,
you just
like,
are
I have
happy
no-
that women are participating in politics. That's ultimately what your call is about.
Makes you feel good.
Well, it really does.
Do you really think women are disadvantaged, though?
Well, I just well, the thing is, here in our state here in New Mexico, like look, we have 20,000 untested rape kits going back 20 years. We barely tested 5.
Well,
that's the kind of stuff that I want women to
That's a
change.
problem with the state. That's a problem with the police resources being allocated towards nonviolent crimes and investigating marijuana smokers and things like that. Thank you, Sarah, for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. I'm sorry I don't buy the claim that women are so disadvantaged.
No, I don't either.
They are in high demand. Now, obviously, the more attractive ones are in a greater advantage. But
there are some industries that do appear to have a glass ceiling.
Sure.
So in certain situations, sure. Some women are disadvantaged.
There's probably certain situations in which men are disadvantaged in certain industries.
I didn't say that didn't exist either.
Right.
Have not got a call back from Hooters despite numerous applications I put in there.
Talk about a fun place to work.
Right.
Yeah, there's always the joke in various TV shows and movies. Oh, you're a male nurse. Ha ha ha.
Right.
Couldn't cut it as a doctor.
Right.
But it's interesting, and it's while you may have prejudices, and we know we have prejudices against race and sex and everything else that exists in the world, they always have. But when the question comes up to abilities, I just, depending on the job, there's things that men are going to be better at, things that women are going to be better at. But overall, I think most women could do any job a man can do.
Absolutely.
Vice versa.
We can, of course, take your calls about anything you want here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Is Jackie's microphone working without having screened this call?
I don't know.
It is. We hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So I was calling about, how do I mute you?
You were calling about what? I'm sorry. It was a little garbled there.
Oh, sorry. I hear you twice.
Oh, no.
That's because I happen to know Jackie. Her phone only works on speaker.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Well, try to ignore that.
Okay,
We can hear you fine.
Can you hear me now?
You sound fine.
We hear you fine.
All right. Now that we've worked all that out, what are you calling about?
Right. I was calling to follow up on what Sarah said, and it's important that more women are running because representation matters. If girls don't see women running for and getting elected to public office, fewer girls are going to think that that's an option for them when they grow up. And historically,
if you have more to say, hang on. We'll be back. More with Jackie here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours, ld2coin.io.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value, made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. Put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue Diamond Gusset's got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free here and bring up anything you want. And, of course, toward the end of the show, we're loaded up with calls, at least on our Discord server. In fact, there were full phones on the Discord on-air call-in line room, so I went ahead and made a fourth room.
Alrighty then.
There you go.
Because we can do that with Discord. We don't have to call the phone company, have them run another line or anything
Call
like that.
the tech guy.
Yeah, who happens to be in the room right now. But
yeah, it does make it easy.
But yeah, just right-clicked on one of the rooms, went to clone, and poof, there you go. We got a fourth call-in line room just like that. So if you want to join us and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us, as long as your microphone's working, which unfortunately for Drew and Philly it wasn't, but we'll work that on another night with him. You can call in about anything you want here on Free Talk Live. We've been talking a lot about homelessness, but now Sarah in New Mexico took control of the airwaves, which is the way it works here on Free Talk Live. She brought up a topic, and you know what? Turns out other people had something to say about it, and that's how this show works. We can talk to you about anything that you want, and of course, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. And don't forget, you can not only follow us on Twitch, but you can also subscribe on Twitch. And thank you to the couple dozen folks who have subscribed. The most recent one, Red Monkey Bear, who subscribed to us on his Twitch Prime. And that means that he's an Amazon Prime subscriber who gets, as an Amazon Prime user, you get one free Twitch subscription every single month, and you can allocate that to whichever Twitch channel you want. Well, we would hope that you would allocate it to us. The LRN Twitch channel not only airs Free Talk Live, but it also airs Call to Freedom when they're live. They took the day off today. Also Questioning Authority on Saturday night. So whatever shows are live here in the Keene studios, that's what goes out on the LRN Twitch channel. In fact, last night I was playing up late, playing some Overwatch. So every now and then you'll see us playing video games on that channel as well. Twitch.lrn.fm. You can follow the channel. That's easy to do, and then you'll get notices, or you can, if you want to opt into them, you can get notices on either email, or if you get the Twitch app installed on your phone, they'll send you a little notice there, hey, we're going live. So that way you can be reminded that we're there. And then, of course, you increment our follower number, which is nice of you to do that. And then there's the subscribe option, which if you're on twitch.lrn.fm and you scroll down just below the video window, you'll find some details on how to hook up your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account and send us that subscription, which basically sends us a couple bucks. Otherwise, Amazon keeps it. So you decide. You want Amazon to keep the couple bucks or send it to lrn.fm because you like what we do. Go to twitch.lrn.fm. And there is a Twitch chat room as well, although it's rare that people will chat in there. We do monitor it during the show. Let's continue here with Jackie. She is on the line with us. She's on the Discord call-in line room. Jackie, did you get your audio issues fixed?
Yeah, I had you playing on the app as well, and I had to mute the app. So now I'm only hearing you once. I was calling in response to what Sarah said about why it's good that more women are running, and representation matters so that people see, like, hey, when I grow up, I can run for office too. That's a thing that women do. And I know that you guys don't perceive this as being a problem, but it's actually a well-documented cognitive bias common amongst men that they perceive their or more women's participation than is actually happening. Show men pictures of a crowd scene. If it's 25 to 33% women, they think it's 50-50.
No
if it's
way.
50-50, they think there's more. Yeah,
I don't have that problem.
They've done it. They think there's more women than men.
I've been in plenty of libertarian meetings, and I can easily tell you how many women there are in those meetings. It's usually no more than 10%.
Yeah, I was going to say 4.
No, I'm talking about like pictures of crowd scenes when they're not sitting there able to individually count every individual. When it's actually 50-50, men perceive it as being way more women.
Well, I didn't say earlier, just for the reference, I didn't say that there was an equal amount of women as there is to men.
I can't remember where anybody said that.
Yeah, and also, like I said, they also do another thing where if they record meetings in which women and men participate in equal amounts of time in terms of minutes spent talking, if it's 50-50, men perceive the conversation as being dominated by women. So there is a well-documented cognitive bias common amongst men. They've done lots of psychological experiments on it where men think that women are participating more and present more than we actually are.
I'd love to see some of the...
I agree, we need more women.
I'd love to see some of the crosstabs on sort of the demographics of, are we talking about conservative Christian men?
Right.
That when they hear a woman speak, she's dominating the conversation. She needs to just sit down, shut up, and be seen.
Yeah, good question. What's the view of
Well,
those
the problem with most psychology research is a vast amount of the samples are, psychology undergraduates who needed extra credit or a quick $20.
College boys.
Like if you actually read into the methodology sections of most psychology research, where do they get their research subjects? They put an ad up on campus. So a lot of what we think is human nature is actually what, upper middle class American college students who need $20 how they think.
White college boys who are going to go and party, and spend all the $20 on liquor that night.
Yeah. And I'm trying to imagine this. We need a bunch of college boys to come in and see a bunch of women and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
still interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not denying the results.
But I do agree, at least partially, that young girls do need to see female role models.
Yeah, but politician is not a role model. Politician is a thug.
Politician shouldn't be a role model, but a lot of people see it as role model.
They do, and it's wrong, which is why I always correct whenever the media is like, these are leaders. Politicians are leaders. No, they're not. They're scum of the earth to a T. Almost all of them are dishonest, and they are trying to rule over the lives of other people. And so, most people should be embarrassed to be seen with politicians.
Yeah, and call it a service.
Ian, remind me what office you're running for, Ian.
Oh, I won't take the office if I actually win. Oh, yeah. I can't actually take the office if I actually win. So
go ahead, call me out too.
Oh, are you running as well?
Running.
I can't even keep track of all the people who are running in Keene.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's. I've done my time. I've gone into that.
You actually were on a select
I've
board.
been a selectman. I still do some service type stuff for my town, but Just running for public office, not my cup of tea.
Look, you can get some. There are exceptions, right? Ron Paul's an exception, okay?
Right.
Darryl Perry's an exception. If you actually have a principled libertarian like Darryl who's running for office, then they want to get in there and they want to dismantle the state.
I'm much more excited about running the New York Marathon, raising money for the Innocence Project.
Yeah, people ask me, "How's your campaign going?" And I look at them and I say, "I don't do anything. I'll show up if somebody invites me to come somewhere, but I'm not going to go out and actually put any effort into this because I can't imagine why anyone would spend money on the political process. It's an insane, just throw money down the hole."
Just wait, Ian, you just wait till I get my PAC set up and can start doing uncoordinated expenses on behalf of candidates. I might elect you to something just to annoy you.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like I said, I'm not going to take the office because I can't swear an oath to the state. I'm sorry. Swearing an oath means something to me, and I am not going to swear allegiance to the United States government, and I would have a tough time swearing allegiance to the state government, too. I'm anti-state. So if they were to elect me, the only way I could actually take the office is if they let me swear an oath to liberty, that everything I do would be in favor of liberty and not the state. How could I possibly swear an oath? How could any libertarian do it? I mean, I understand people have to kind of, compromise themselves in order to take political office, but for me, I'm not willing to. And I'm not going to cross my fingers and do it that way.
I look forward to the court case then, because that would be an interesting precedent for you to set one way or the other.
I don't think you could. I don't think you could win that case. The state has its oath, and it likely is unmodifiable. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be an exception.
I think they will allow you to change the word swear to affirm.
Yeah, but even that, I'm not going to affirm an oath of allegiance to the United States. It would be distasteful to do it to just the state government, but even then I could at least consider it.
It's not allegiance to, it's that you would uphold the...
Protect and defend.
Protect and defend the Constitution. And if you want to abolish one of those documents, then you're not really protecting and defending said document.
Well, what happens when Quakers get elected? Because I know they have...
Darryl. I'm sorry.
What happens when Quakers get elected?
I don't think they run for office, but here you go. I do solemnly swear, this is the text, I'm not actually swearing, that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire. Now, they added a United States. It wasn't in the original oath of office, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God.
All right.
Yeah.
I am wrong here. I did not think it said allegiance to the state.
It does. Now you know.
Yeah.
Can you swear that oath?
No.
Okay. I guess you're with me then. She's going to have a talking to you about this one,
Getting you guys elected and seeing what happens.
It would be. I agree with you.
I'll take it to court.
Yeah, it would be very interesting.
Right.
It would be very interesting. I don't know if we could find an attorney who would take it to court for us, but that would be fun if we could.
I think you have one who's a co-host.
We do have an attorney, but she doesn't do courtroom.
Right.
She doesn't do courtroom. You're talking about Laurel Scott, our new Sunday night
No, I think
co-host.
she's talking about Melanie, who has...
She's also not an attorney.
But she has graduated
Laurel
law
is
school.
an attorney. Laurel actually is an attorney and bar accepted or whatever.
And in Discord.
I'm sure they can find someone.
Yeah, we're out of time tonight. Well, it's easier said than done. A lot of these attorneys don't want to take on the state, but it may be possible.
ACLU?
We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, which we probably won't because we're libertarian candidates in Keene, New Hampshire. But thanks for the call tonight, Jackie. We'll talk to you later. See you tomorrow, freetalklive.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 19th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zen is trading at $13, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,487. Antiwar.com reports while the Trump administration has long maintained that sanctions against North Korea don't impact humanitarian aid, in practice, the administration has banned all American aid groups from the country, shutting down aid efforts. This comes as the administration looks to increase sanctions against North Korea and to make sure that growing diplomatic progress between them and the rest of the world does not end up easing their isolation. That means cutting humanitarian projects. The State Department said there are a range of factors behind the decision to ban all of these aid groups from North Korea, and that officially they're being handled on a case-by-case basis. All U.S. groups involved in such projects, however, are getting the same answer, rejecting their travel. Aid groups also reported confusion at the Treasury Department about the regulation and licensing of NGOs that had worked with North Korea's government, including on aid projects. Cutting through the red tape is all but impossible at this point. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports animal rights activists covered in bloody body paint demonstrated topless Thursday in New York City to protest outfitter Canada Goose over the treatment of coyotes and geese. The protesters, supporters of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, set off red smoke bombs and unfurled a large banner with what they said is a more accurate version of the Canada Goose logo. The demonstrators rallied outside Canada Goose's flagship Manhattan location. PETA has posted videos online showing the abuse of geese, which are starved and left in cages for hours before they are slaughtered. These geese are taken from James Valley Colony Farms in Canada to a slaughterhouse at Schlitz Food in South Dakota. Goose down is used as a filling for their jackets. PETA stated on the website, once they have been unloaded for slaughter, these geese watched, terrified as other frightened birds were again grabbed by the neck, stunned, shackled upside down by their legs, and killed right in front of them. The group also accuses Canada Goose of trapping coyotes and using their fur to trim coats. PETA Executive Vice President Tracy Ryman said PETA is calling on shoppers to refuse to give a dime to this cruel company until it stops selling items for which sensitive animals are tormented and killed. PETA's campaign against Canada Goose also includes large banners near a store in Chicago that read, "I'm a living being, not a jacket filling," and "Boycott Canada Goose." PETA Clothing Campaigns Manager Christina Sewell said, "This is our big campaign for the fall and winter, so this is where all our firepower is going right now." Banners will soon be on display at several other Canada Goose locations. Canada Goose officials say their treatment of animals is ethical and humane. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports President Donald Trump's administration on Thursday for a second time asked the U.S. Supreme Court to put the brakes on a lawsuit filed by young activists who have accused the U.S. government of ignoring the perils of climate change. In the lawsuit, 21 activists between the ages of 11 and 22 said federal officials violated their rights to due process under the U.S. Constitution by failing to adequately address carbon pollution such as emissions from burning of fossil fuels. The lawsuit was filed in 2015 against former President Barack Obama and government agencies in a federal court in Eugene, Oregon. Both the Obama and Trump administrations have failed in an effort to have the lawsuit thrown out. On July 30th, the Supreme Court rejected an earlier application by the Trump administration, saying it was premature. Eugene, Oregon-based federal judge Ann Aiken on Monday issued another ruling allowing the case to move forward to trial on October 29th if either the High Court or the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals do not intervene. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Seniors thunder into a local high school parking lot like coalition forces entering Baghdad. A substitute teacher just needs to make it to her car before breaking down in tears. And a college freshman tells his roommate there's no need to hide his masturbation from him. And now a week in review that truly requires no introduction. The nation's students announced this week that they have reluctantly agreed to give the American education system yet another chance, saying they hope educators keep their promises of smaller class size, better school supplies, and intensified efforts to raise the country's international math ranking. The nation's students vowed to give the education system one more shot, despite claiming to have been burned many, many times in the past. In other news, a man overcomes alcoholism without the help of Jesus, and an outcast student and a lonely teacher have begun a somewhat endearing sexual relationship. And that was a free lesson in top-shelf journalism. For more news, videos, and reminders of your insignificance, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Torchwood Report. I am Matthew Taylor along with the one true Niz. Today is Friday, October 19th, 2018, and guys, we have a great one in store for you. But before we go ahead and get on with that, I'm going to kick it over to Niz with our weekly announcement.
This broadcast is covered by the BIPCOT No Government License. That means that you are free to use or rebroadcast portions or segments of this show so long as you are not an agent or advocate for government. If you fail to heed this warning, you will be socially shamed forever and ever and ever.
As you should be.
All the eons for eternity. For more information, please visit bipcot.org. That's bipcot.org.
So, was it obvious to you as it was to me that I got snuck by our opening this week? Only been doing this for, over a year now, you and I. And I'm sitting here and I just bought myself one of those new, or not new, but one of those the electric fireplaces, and I wasn't paying attention because it's so nice and toasty in here that right as we were coming on air, I realized that was the background noise I couldn't isolate. So, Niz, why don't you set up our first story while I go stop that?
Great, leave me hanging. The guy with the cold, isn't that awesome? I don't know. I thought maybe right off the bat we probably have to address the NPC meme driving the left absolutely freaking insane. I mean, this is absolutely huge. Personally, I think this is the best meme that's come